Hi everybody. There's a couple of things that I was really excited about sharing with you guys. One is the Game of Saturn, the book. If you're interested in historical tarot and in particular the Solar Busca deck, you would understand why. And so I'll link that somewhere here. Otherwise, you might just find that boring, but I was so excited. And the second thing that I have to prevent myself from jumping up and down is this particular edition of the Ellis Deck. It is the large edition. Not only is it the large edition, it is large, borderless, plastic, and non-reversible back. I don't read reversible. I don't read reversal. So non-reversible backs I just got sent for me because it's so tedious to always wonder whether I've got the right side up. Putting the issue or the matter and discussion of reading reversals or not aside for now, this is everything I've ever wanted in a deck. Large, durable, not necessarily plastic, but plastic is durable, borderless, and non-reversible. The thing about plastic edition this large, as you can see, this is an empty box because this size plastic deck is pretty hefty. They're really heavy. This is a plastic edition of the third edition and it's very heavy compared to the cardboard cardstock. It's hefty. The thing about the plastic cardstock of this size, unfortunately, is plastic cardstock. If you've seen my video of this deck, which I'll link up here somewhere, plastic cardstock is a champ come to riffle shuffling. And I will try to demonstrate with the large edition, but I think I won't be able to because my hand is simply not wide enough. You see there, it's a strain for me to stretch my hand over this length, and over this length it just doesn't work with the bending. But plastic cardstock is the best come to riffle shuffling because look at that. They don't have to be extra thin to be bendable, first of all. They are durable and bendable in a way that you demand of a whole deck to riffle shuffle. And not only are they flexible, they're durable, they're not too thin because plastic, hello, they can be substantial and flexible. And so really, unfortunately though, it's wasted on me because my hand's too small. Having said that, I still prefer plastic cardstock for its durability. So in this instance, I do not have a backup deck. Like I've only ordered one. Usually I ordered two, but also because the price is about $75 per deck. But I mean, look at it. I think it's well worth the price. Shipping is expensive as always to the Southern Hemisphere, but as I said, it's well worth the price. By the time it's converted to my money, it's over $100, but and so I've heard about this last year, and because I'm a big fan of Ellis Taylor, the creator of this deck, from the very first time I spotted his deck in 2014. This is my first, well, not this particular one. This is the second edition, is my first Ellis deck, copyright 2013 there. And this is my spare copy. My other copy I've trimmed and I've traded it off. Unfortunately, the deck that I've traded it for, although the New Zealand postal system says it's been delivered to me, I've never received it. So I've trimmed it completely in that particular edition, that one that I've used for a while, and I've cropped it and sort of cornered it. It's now in Australia, and it was supposed to be traded for the Chrysalis Tarot and the book. Luckily, the person on the other side is insured, but I do not know if she has managed to claim insurance or not. I'm not sure. But so that trade effectively have turned into well, yeah, anyway, so that's just life. So anyway, so it looks like that. So that's well, not the original, but the first one I've ever encountered of the Ellis deck has this back, and I really love it because I know that's the right side up for me. And then once it's trimmed, it's beautiful. The only thing I regretted was that I think I cornered it a bit too large. So on hindsight, if I have a choice, if I have to trim it all over again, I would do a small corner, which is what this is. So that's really, really good. And then, of course, I got wind of the following edition, the third edition, which was available in both standard cardstock and plastic. And of course, I had to order the plastic one, and that was my first ever experience. Actually, that's not true. On a holiday with my partner in a house that we rented somewhere in a farm by the sea, we encountered plastic deck. Well, I've encountered my first ever plastic deck, and I couldn't really tell. I actually sort of touched it and I thought, this feels a bit plasticky, and then I realized it's plastic. The Ellis Deck, on the other hand, is even better than that because, first of all, the original cardstock of the Ellis Deck, I wish this is open, but let me have a look. Okay, you can't really see the lamination because the shrink wrap is covering it, but you can see a little bit there, orange peel-like texture on top of the surface of the cardstock there, which makes it feel almost plasticky. And so when I received the plastic deck, again, I'll link that video up there. The back is this time reversible, so for those who read reversals, you would prefer this back. But the plastic surface is very much like the cardstock of the original Ellis. When I say original, I meant my first Ellis, which is the second edition. I do not know how the first edition looked like, so if any of you have the first edition, feel free to show it to me because I would love to have a look at it. And again, I will link that video up here. I bend it, look at that, and it's just heavenly. Not all plastic cardstock are created equal, I've learned, because excuse me, I've ordered a plastic deck from a creator that shall remain nameless, and I was extremely unhappy about it. I was very unhappy with the quality of the images, but the cardstock was really sharp at the edges, so that when you shuffle, because I don't riffle shuffle very well, I overhand shuffle, which is a waste for plastic deck, as I keep saying, the edges bit me. It was really sharp. So let's go to this one here. As you can see, everything about it is the same as this particular edition here, except that it's borderless, it's plastic, and it's large. And let me just put away the majors, because I've put the majors just for demonstration purposes in order, but not the minors. So as I said, sorry if I'm repeating myself, I'm just so excited, but plastic cardstock is a champ come to riffle shuffling, and unfortunately I struggle with the stretching of my hand across the length or the long side of the deck, which really, you see what I mean? I'm just really struggling here. So look at that. Whoops. It's just butter. It's absolute butter. If you have much bigger hands than me, it doesn't quite work this way. I'm not going to flip through this because I'll flip through the majors, but it is not a new deck, and I do not believe, see, sideways like this, it doesn't really make much of a difference between cardboard and plastic, but this way it does. And unfortunately it's a waste on me because I have to shuffle this way. Overhand shuffling, to me, cardboard and plastic cardstock doesn't make much of a difference. I mean, as I said, I'm sorry, again, repeating myself, so excited. Riffle shuffling, the bending of the deck is when it's, you know, when plastic cardstock is a real champ there. So not a new deck, so all of the images from what I understand remains the same, and it's just now it's large and it's durable and it's non-reversible. I could kiss Mr. Taylor Ellis and all of his glorious beardness, because this is the first time I've ever managed to grab a hold of a deck with all of my wish list about the deck fulfilled. Like absolutely everything about this deck that I've ever wished for about the Ellis deck is fulfilled in this deck, in this particular edition. That is a perfect temperance, don't you think? Look at that. Two become one. And the devil, one of my favorite favorite archetype. It's just wonderful. This is not the chattiest deck for me, and this is not a deck I've worked deep with, but it is one of my most loved deck for whatever reason. I think the visual just absolutely worked for me. As you can see, it's strictly Rider-Waite Smith system, so it's very friendly to most people. It's just, this is one, if there's any, you know, the first, last, and always, I think this would be one of my always deck for a very different reason than the Urban Tarot. It's very visual. It's a very, it's like a friend I would talk casually with. It is a friend that I would find very easygoing, that you relax with, and but after at the end of that trip of talking to that friend, you feel like you are rejuvenated. You know, it's there's this ad here in New Zealand of, I think, for a car, but it's a very interesting commentary on how men deal with their emotional anxiety. So if women talk to each other about what bothers them and talk them through, and I know this from various male friends as well who made comments about such things. The scene was about a couple of guys going hunting, going fishing, you know, they had a beer, they watched sports, they ate, I don't know, hamburger or hot dog or something, and then at the end of that trip, you know, they say something to the effect, or, you know, the male version of, you know, I love you, brother, you know, something like, I really do care for you and I hope you're okay. And at the end of that trip, you know, he felt okay. And this is the kind of deck that I felt for me. It doesn't go too much into, you know, it doesn't, like the Urban Tarot, really dig deep into my emotions. Excuse me. This is just casually talking to me. It's not chatty, it's not verbose, but it's silently and quietly nevertheless connect with me, and at the end of it I always feel better. So it's very visual. It's not very verbal, but it's very visual, and it speaks to me in a tone of voice, or a tone of visual voice, that I find quite unique for me compared to my other decks. So that is the Ellis Deck Jumbo Large Plastic Borderless Non-Reversible Back Edition, and I love it. Talk to you later.